So when you change the music after you get the vocal back and you put things in the bin as you do and you rewrite stuff, how do you work with people who remix your material if you've rewritten it around a vocal and then you give it to someone else, you give them the stems, and then they do something completely different with it?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, I'm of two minds with remixes. If you've noticed, there's no really any. I'm doing the remix thing. I usually put a remix of my own on every single in the past, but that I used to have like about 5 or 6 remixes on every EP or single. But I'm kind of like, I mean, Jordan and I are always busy with our lives, so I'm averaging an album every 5 years is what I'm looking at. And I'm thinking, I'm gone for so long, even though I release singles within that, so it kind of shrinks it. But even though I'm gone every like for 5 years, and then I slam people with other people's versions of my music, and God bless you guys, like you play everything of ours, and I'm so happy. But you guys also play, all the DJs play the remixes too. So it's almost like, if I'm gone for 5 years, shouldn't I establish our sound, Jordan and I? And this should be, so that's why these ones all leading up to the album don't have any other people fidgeting with them. I just want to go, this is Breathe of My Leaves. This is us. It's not, because I give it to the remixers and they just blow it out of the ballpark. They do such great jobs with these, but they sound like nothing like us. But that gets played for years, and then people don't really know what Breathe of My Leaves, because I don't do an album every year. So it's almost like, let's slow it down and let's just have us be us and build a foundation. So these ones don't have that, like remixes, but I'll probably put it on a remix album where I send it out to, because if people are asking like, hey, would you like me to remix this? And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, there's like all our artists that I get played around, they're such incredible artists. I think they elevate the song, but at the same time, they kind of add their spin on it, and it becomes not Jordan and I anymore. So that's why I've been kind of like keeping these close to my chest for a bit. But we will definitely like put out something with remixes for sure. But usually I kind of bunch all the percussion and all the lead synths and all the burbling little weird kind of synths, and I kind of send them out. And I just let the remixer do what, because it's an art. I just like, do whatever you want. I never really give them I want a poppier feel for this, and I want a house kind of feel for this, and I want this more dance. Like, usually I get really surprised, and I love being surprised. But I tend to kind of bunch all my stuff together, because like Us, for instance, had over 100 and I think it's between 120, 150 stems. So for me to export that many stems, because it was just me being insecure and keep adding things and just adding layers and layers and layers. If I was to give Us to people, like when people give me their songs to remix, I just say, give me the BPM and the vocal. I don't need any of the music. I'll just create the music from scratch. So I build a new song for them. It's not really a remix, right? So I kind of take it like a Jordan vocal and I kind of build. But for this one, it's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with these stems. Like, if they ask for stems for Us, Godzilla has the smallest amount. I think it's actually, now it's growing, but there's other ones. The intro song, Jordan, whatever we call that, and that other big pop one. I mean, those ones have a small amount, but I don't know, like that. I'm kind of two minds with remixes. I love them. I think a lot of times they'll improve my songs. So it's like, it's not an insult to the remixers. They'll elevate the song, but it's not us anymore. And then the DJs are so excited to get these, obviously, remixes because they're so cool. But then we come out every 5 years or something, and it's almost like, remember us? This is our sound over here, and it's like way in the back. If I released an album every year or two, I'd be like, remixes, like slam them with remixes nonstop. So I'm kind of, I don't know.
We started doing remixes about a couple of years ago. Well, in fact, while COVID was, we started thinking. So I always thought, well, leave that to the professionals. We're not very good at that sort of thing. And we tried a few, and we quite enjoyed it, and we did a few more. And then we got a bit carried away with it, and we did a few more and a few more. We did some bigger bands, and it got really good. And then we got in this situation where there was a band in Sweden that we'd been fans of for a very, very long time. Just Sweden. And the guy said, "Oh, would you remix this track for us?" And we said, "It's one of our favourites. Of course, we'll do it." And the stems came through, and there were over 120 something stems that came through. And I just looked at Bridget and went, "What do I do?" And I think she said, "Like, delete." So it was like delete. What's left? We'll remix that. Luckily, it was the vocals and a bass and some keyboards, and that was all we needed. And everything else was like from scratch.
Nice.
Like we binned like 100 and whatever. I don't know what it was, 108 tracks or something.
It's not a remix if you keep.
No offense to the band, because they produced them and they needed them. All we needed was the bass, the vocals, and the hi-hat. That was basically all we had. Yeah. Remixes are weird beasts, aren't they?
They are very weird.
They put their own, like we do. We inject our own DNA into it, and maybe you're obviously, you guys are going to be very protective over this album at the moment, aren't you? Of course you are. You're going to want to enjoy it and deliver it yourselves and present it, and you need that moment.
Yeah, that's kind of why we're just putting these songs out, and we're kind of keep them close to our chest. And then maybe I mean, what do I do? Like, I don't know if we're talking about doing something different for fall, maybe, and then just maybe pushing the album right into the new year or something, just to kind of keep momentum building, just to build a foundation. So it's not like we're just going to disappear. We're just going to keep releasing things up until then, and building to it. But once it's out, I'm going to need to promote. Like, once the album is out and there's like 13 songs out, what do I do to promote? Because everyone's heard the songs, say it comes out in February. All the songs are out, people are going to be playing them. When I release a song again right before it, that's fine. But after you release a song after the album, you can't just release a single. It's got to have the little, because I do a little instrumental B-side kind of to each single, just to kind of have something new on it. But you're going to start having to put remixes on there, unless Jordan wants to throw like another B-side vocal, more music after we finish. But I mean, like, I'm not expecting that, because after we're done the album, it's think about the next album.
I think you should do a metal version.
You would love that, Jordan. Would
I can see him. Yeah, he'd be in that.
Jordan,
it's not even metal. It's my like
hard rock.
Yeah, if you know the band Alter Bridge, that is my Alter Bridge. Essentially, is my jam. All the time. It's kind of theatrical metal. It was the original Creed band with the brand new singer Miles Kennedy, who was in the song the movie Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg, and he sings at the very end of it, and he takes over the lead singing role. And Alter Bridge is my ultimate.
And you have to do it clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's theatrical. It's very like Meatloaf. Like it's not metal in terms of like big screaming, like it's not that type of stuff. It's very, very melodic metal.
Although that would be interesting too.
we could do like a screamcore version of.
You kind of do that in Godzilla.
I do that. Yeah, I do some pretty big screaming in Godzilla. Yeah, but that's because I'm trying to be Godzilla.
But you're very soulful though. Like at the same time, it's not just screaming. Like you sound like you have soul, like, which is crazy.
It's blues. It's blues. And then it was growing up in the church. It's a stereotypical, whole story of growing up singing, and that my mom was a signed gospel artist, had many records, so I grew up in that soul church vibe, and then went into metal, but into kind of more hard rock, melodic, theatrical metal, if you want to call that. And then loved, growing up, I loved the George Michaels, and I even loved like, stupid stuff, like, not to bring it up on this like show, but like stupid stuff like Limp Bizkit covering Faith.
Yeah.
Like when I heard that, if you remember that back in whatever that was, 2002, I was like, that's the coolest thing ever, because like those types of bands I loved. I love the George Michaels. I love all the 80s and 70s and the big, soulful ballad stuff. And I sing, in contradiction to how my voice sounds now, I sing very, very high. And so I try to, do different range stuff with those different artists, and it's super fun. But yeah, metal. Yeah, I love the high stuff. That's the thing that probably we fight about the most. Is Stephano will be like, just don't go there, just stay here.
I like it when he restrains, because he has such a beautiful, powerful vocal. I'm like, just put it in the box, like just for this one, like, because he can go, like, even if you hear it, like, there's a lot of stuff I had to leave off on Avalon, because he goes into this metal scream, which is incredible. Like, it sounds like this crazy operatic metal. So I kind of like, there's a lot of it that I kind of put lower in the mix and at the end of the song, because it just turns into this, it's like a circus. Like it's incredible, his vocal. If you actually heard what he sends me, that I have to kind of like, well, I got to put this into a pop song. Like, and I'm coming from Goldfrapp, Erasure, OMD, Depeche. Like I'm coming from like any kind of Italo disco, classical, Handel, Vivaldi. Like I'm coming from these things, ELO even, like, so, and he's coming from this other, like it's a comet always rushing towards me.
Other place, yeah.
So I'm always like, can you just put that beautiful voice in a box, like restrain it? Because once it's restrained, it sounds incredible. Like it sounds incredible no matter what, but it's so much easier for pop music to still be eccentric, but to kind of control the vocal a bit more. Because when he does his hard operatic dramatic metal, it's hard for me to kind of hook onto the melody. There's got to be some sort of a hook that then I can take and accentuate with my music. When it's kind of like going all over, it's like, this sounds incredible, but I can't, it's like this nebulous blob of greatness that I can't really latch onto. Like, so like for my stuff, it's got to have structure. So with him, it's always like reining him in. Like there's a few songs that I know we're going to have discussions about where I'm like, maybe tone it a little bit down. And some songs, like he'll come at me and I'm like, oh my God, I never thought we should do this, but this sounds even better than I was thinking. So for him, like it's this wild card that I never know what I'm going to get. And I never dislike anything. That's the one thing about Jordan, is like everything he's ever sent me, even if he thought it was garbage, I think it's a just treasure. Like I'm like, oh, I could do that. I could take that and turn it into a different song. It's never garbage. There's always something musical, because he's a musician. There's always musicality about everything he sends me. So for me, it's always like this kid in a toy store. It's like, oh, I'm going to save this and put it on the toy shelf and use it later. And I do that. I'll take it and put another song all the time. Like it just, whatever he sends is always like a gift. So
yeah, that was like with us. Us was a hard one for me, because we did 1900 versions, and then at the end I just finally said, you know what, forget it. Like if you listen to my vocal in that tune, like the chorus is all falsetto.
Yeah.
Baby, this is us. It's like, ooh, it's just all right in the middle. And if you heard versions before that, I'm like, baby, this is us. I was like, no. It's like, no, it's just way too aggressive. And I just had to go, okay, fine. Like I'm not familiar with that, right? And that's what I love doing. If I sing, if I'm doing recording projects with metal bands, or if I'm doing hard rock, or even country even itself, like like classical kind of Canadian country has grit, and it has that raw, like man thing. You have to have that, right? And then to listen to the lyric and go, okay, cool. One of my favorite bands of all time is Keane, and so I then tap into that. Keane is one of my ultimate bands, and to tap into that, he's very tight banded when he sings. It's all right in the middle. It's all very safe. It's all very falsetto-y and a little bit of power, but not too much. And then when I send the tune back to him and I'm not utterly happy with the take, he's like, I love it. Stephane's like, that's the perfect one. Just they're here to save the world. Ooh. I'm like, okay, fine. We'll leave it there.
Like, he's a wild horse, and I have to restrain him. I'm like a robot riding a wild horse. Just like if there's a symbol of this band.
Is that the album sleeve?
Yeah, that's probably going to be the album cover.
That's it. You've done it.
If you look at his hair, he's like a wild horse. Like he's got like that's symbolic of his, like, the whole. And actually, you know what? I've never seen his hair move. Like when I saw the last photo of him, he had like this short kind of hair. So like when I saw him like in a photo, this is another weird thing, just seeing him move. It's like I saw him in a photo and I'm like, did somebody superimpose someone's hair on him? And it's like, no, it's me, dude. I'm like, oh my God. It's weird that we haven't seen each other to like work together. So he's got like a full mane, and I didn't even know. So
it is quite strange hearing. I mean, I've heard some obviously tracks with Jordan's voice on before, because the impact of us was so wow. And I remember listening to it and thinking, where is this vocal going? But it worked absolutely with the song. And then speaking to you today, we've got this really low voice coming in, and it's like, are you sure you're singing on this song? Like,
no, I don't. I'm telling you, I know.
that's
I get that. I get that all the time.
But we loved Love You Lately as well. That's one of our favorites. And
Oh, yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, Love You Lately. Yeah,
Right.
As well.
we did that. Oh man, that tune was funny. That was.
You cannot sit still to either of those songs. That's the thing. We were sitting here like listening, doing this. What are we doing?
Yeah, I was out in the middle of the mountains, kind of to depict where I live is, cowboy town, and I was way out in this. Yeah, these mountains behind me here, and I was at a studio, a house that I was like house sitting at the time, and didn't have any place to stay, and I was living there, and they had a studio, and Stephano had sent me the tracks for Love You Lately, and the original version was slower than the one that was actually released, but
it's another one we
just sent me, and I was like, oh, I wanna love you lately, love it to the sound, I was like, okay, like, and then put it through, just did all the vocal stuff, sent it back, sped it up, done. And we still have tunes that we've been working on for 8 years. Like, there's those random tunes that just work, and that was one of them. Again, is my point.
That song is on my very first album before I started working with Jordan. It's an album called Pangeometrica, and it's called Gone. And he again kind of surprised me with vocals for it, and I sat on his vocal for years. And he goes, you should probably release this. And that's why I started making albums after that, because I said, I'm going to play with his song. So I took his vocal and I threw away Gone, and I built a new song out of it. And I'm like, this is good. And he goes, you should release it. Like, I think he said that 2 years after it was done. I go, yeah, maybe I'll like start working on music. And then I started putting together the other album, which was Chimera. And
because you had kind of quit music, and I had kind of quit music, and everything was in lingo. And then we started talking about what you should actually release, because I got burnt out after the whole LA thing, and I was done. And then you were then like, oh, this is the opportunity to like for us to work together, and we were both burned out. And then it was like 2 years later, but I was like, that tune was. That's the shocking thing about getting music from somebody who writes completely different than we've ever done in your entire life. I don't write anything remotely close to what Stephano does musically. Nothing. My stuff is Stephano's heard some of my versions of like You're My Light and all these other ones that we're going to hopefully release on the album, and they're just so much different in terms of the process. And that's what was really cool, being like, I think if you do that vocal on top of that track, it'll work. And he's like, I don't know. And then 2 years later, he's like, okay, I released it. And I'm like, okay, and it worked out, and it's a great tune. But
it's the jewel.
Again, it was put together. It was put together in such a fragmented way, and that worked. Like, it's almost like I don't want to meet. It's almost like this is a good thing we got going, because
we're gonna meet.
We're working in the same studio. It's like, what's going to happen? Because it's so interesting to see the curveballs we just throw at each other.
When you guys finally meet up, you're going to go in a studio and you're going to sit down and to record, and you're just going to go,
We'll be total crap in a studio together.
Or arm wrestling.
Arm wrestling, yeah.
Fist fights.
Fist fights. We'll become like Oasis all of a sudden.
Yeah, all of a sudden we hate each other. Yeah. No. All of a sudden I'm not the singer anymore.
All the truths will come out.
Yes. Remember that song? There's something weird about that song. I can't remember what it was. Love You Lately though. I had something to say and I totally forgot, but it was something you reminded me of something with that song, and I can't remember what it is. There's like a weird story about it as well. But
the story behind that tune is well, I can say it if you want, but I don't want to bore everybody. But yeah, it sparks.
Your ex also sang it. Remember that?
Yeah, that's why. Like it
That's what it was.
I purposely try to stretch my, like, it's really hard to stretch myself when it comes to country music. When you produce or you write country music, it's very down the line. You know, everyone's got everything figured out. You're my girl, I'm your boy. This is a horse. This is a, you know, like, it's everything is so positive or so masculine or so feminine or whatever you want. And I do a lot of that writing. I write with a lot of country artists, and so when I get to do this stuff, I really try to break into my personal insecurity vault. Really, to be honest,
I'll be your horse. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be my horse. But no, just like I really try to tap into my insecurity vault. And there's been a lot of stuff in my life that has gone wrong. There's been a lot of choices and decisions that I've done that have you know, fucked up a lot of shit. And I want to tap into that, and I want to tap into the art. And so the writing with this type of music has been, you know, Love You Lately was the beginning of a new relationship that then crumbled, and basically the whole song, if you really knew the backstory of the tune, it's a depressing as hell song. I Want to Love You to the song. I really want to love you late, but baby you're gone, gone, gone. The whole tune is a depressive state of being alone.
But it's uplifting.
Right? But it's uplifting sounding.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you understand those pieces of it, that's what I really enjoy as a lyricist, is being able to have the freedom, the you know, here's your tapestry, here's your piece, lay your lyrics on it, and have them mean something. You know, it's better than like, oh, what's that song about? I'm like, I don't know, happiness. Like, there's no substance when you just write a basic pop tune. And you know, I try to write, well, Stephano knows this with some of the other tunes that we're going to release, like a lot of my depictions of love, or my depictions of insecurity, my depictions of say, you know, not not personal depression, but like feeling depressed or being homeless, or all these different types of things in life. I depict them in a famous piece of art. And then I talk about that piece of art and what that piece of art meant to that specific thing. And no one would know what that really means unless they asked me. But that's what gives this project substance, that you can actually talk about stuff and be like, well, what do you mean by, like, you know, depicting this piece of art? Well, that piece of art actually is about loneliness and loss, you know, of a female. And it's like, okay, so what does that mean to you? Well, at that time in my life, I was, say, living out of my truck, or whatever the example is. There's stories behind everything that we do. And I think Stephano respects that, and it also drives him crazy because it can take a long time for some songs to be done. But when they're done, they mean something, you know, and that's the whole, that's the reason why I do it with all these tunes. Love You Lately, same thing. It's like it's a coming around the bend tune. And that's why I specifically made it sound happy, but everything about it is like that last slingshot, you know, that G-force of like, back into goodness in life. That's where that song was written, is right there. Like, I could just give up, or I could make something better. And then you listen to it again, you go, oh, it doesn't mean the same thing to me anymore.
Well, I also like, I like to make things sound happier even when they're not. Like, I have this weird thing where I like sweet melody. I like when the melody is sweet. Like, I like uplifting, and I like dark stuff, but I like it to be uplifting. So that song is a perfect example of like a ballad that's really depressing, but it's oddly uplifting. And even like that one didn't take you long at all to write. But like, even when Jordan, because Jordan has also made electronic music, like without me. And he, like, we were waiting for this one stretch of time for another track. I was waiting just for the vocal, because, like, you know, he takes his time with vocal, which is awesome for me because the lyric always ends up being incredible. But he kind of sent me the stems of this song he did with another person. It's electronic music. It's like, and I'm like, oh. And it sounds so modern. It sounds too modern for me. Like, I don't think I sound modern. And so I kind of threw away the entire music and I built a new song. So that's going to be on the album. but it's kind of interesting listening to Jordan working on a song that was not even touched by me, and then me wrapping my music around his vocal and turning it into our song. That song sounds so good. Like when I listened to it, I'm so impressed. Like, because when you sent it to me, I was like, this sounds too modern for me. Like it sounds like something from like the Chainsmokers or
Yeah,
something.
so it's
And I'm like,
very
that doesn't
polished.
sound like, because I always, for a joke, I always call ourselves the dollar store chain smokers or dollar store Asian or something. But I mean, like, but it sounded like this just killer, ready for pop radio, like Sirius FM, like I mean, what is it, XMs, like into satellite radio, house EDM network, like, and I'm like, we can't do this. But I took it, I put my spin on it, but I kind of tried making it modern. So that's going to be on it. So even when he's doing stuff where he's taking his time, going to the mountains, fishing, like I'm waiting there for his vocal tracks. Like, yeah, you'll get it this weekend. And then I'll be on Instagram and he's like fishing with his dog. He's like in the water. I'm like, you're not really working on this, are you? So
I actually am though. It's I actually am.
In his head, yeah.
But that's his process, right? Whereas my
Yeah.
process is like sit and wait because I can't wait to hear his thing, and because I'm a director, I'm around computers a lot, so I'm able to pull up my old computer that I used to make music on. I don't use the new stuff, like I use the old stuff. So for him, I always see his process. His process is nature and enjoying life and being in the mountains, and you're in rivers and your dog head is in the river and his head is here.
Yeah.
So like, and I love nature too, but I'm inspired by it too, and I'm inspired by cities and things, but we do it completely differently. So he's like, if he sends me songs, he'll even send me songs that he did in his past, and I'm like, I'm gonna make our song out of this while I wait. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's, you know, it's kind of a cool process. It's nothing
Technology
I would have
though,
thought.
technology, it's easy to do that. Like I have like with this project, not to like, repeat it again, but I want the lyrics to be a story. And if someone wants to talk to me for half an hour about a tune and what does it really mean, there's some substance behind that. And that takes a lot of time because I can pump out 100 country tunes in a week, and that's easy. But when it's one about like what gutted your soul back in 2006 or something, like something that really changed your life, that's what I want every single tune on this track to be about. Avalon's the exact same way. Avalon was a hard one to write. I wrote the melody, I sent it to Stephano without any music. I just put a synth behind it. And that was the whole kind of aspect of at one time in my life when I was just living in my truck, and I was just like, like, do you want to die? Essentially, do you want to die just being a normal person, or do you want to, experience that extra life buzz, that extra, going beyond? It's not about money, it's not about fame, it's not about anything, but it's putting that extra effort into having a valiant life, a great fulfilling life that you deserve to, go through or pass through Avalon, where kings and great people, great warriors have gone through, experience the Isle of Glass, and then dive into the culture of what is Avalon, or what people believe and don't believe Avalon is. Obviously there's many different interpretations on that type of stuff, and then wrapping that up into the tune, and then Stephano uplifting the music more into that, being like, I want this to be heavier because it's something that's really burning in my chest. I don't want to be normal, but I feel normal. So what do I have to do in my life to be better? Well, you don't have to be, famous or great or powerful or rich, but like, what can I do to be a better person? Ultimately, that's it. And then the song turned into Avalon, and it had a great kind of banger in the beginning of the tune. It does that the big vocal line. It's like, I've been fighting the Pericles fight. What does that mean? Well, Pericles fight, if you know, in terms of Greek culture, he was one of the first kind of democratic people that really came in and was trying to conform democracy, if you will, within the Greek culture. I'm fighting the Pericles fight. Even though it's thousands of years later, I'm just trying to be gray. I'm just trying to be in the middle. I'm trying to be very democratic and very thoughtful and right, very, not here and not there, just in the middle. I'm fighting the Pericles fight. And if you listen to that whole tune, it's the same thing. And I ran it through Stephano. I run this every song through Stephano, being like, what do you think about this? Do you think that's too weird or too extreme or too whatever? And he usually doesn't ever say like no, and he got that one. I kind of threw the Greek thing in there because he's Greek. But it's like the whole Pericles fight thing that's that whole tune. You want to pass through life and be a great person, even if you're just cooking food for the homeless. You deserve that same aisle of glass. You deserve that that ultimate transition into the next life, whatever that may be, or whatever you come back as. If you talk about reincarnation or whatever you believe in or don't believe in, it doesn't matter. It's just what are you wanting to become, and how do you better yourself, rather than like, ooh baby, oh baby, oh baby. Which is,
do you remember you had an additional whispering verse in there, and I couldn't work it in. There's just I thought, because I wanted to make this like a throwaway summer kind of hit, and I thought it's going to be so intense. So there's another verse which is in the Avalon remix now, that's out now. It's not out yet. It'll be the B-side to Sweet Music Man, one of the B-sides. But I included it because it's longer, and you can kind of do that. So there's actually a new verse in that version that he was so upset that we couldn't use, so disappointed that we couldn't add it, because it means so much to him. And I'm like, I'm listening to these like super poetic, like ancient lyrics, and I'm like, wow, this is so deep for a throwaway summer banger. Like, so it's kind of funny when he's like, but you gotta try to, so I thought, well, why don't I just include it in the remix, and then people will get the full version of what he's talking about, because he's so passionate about. Because I always joke around, I always like prod him. I'm like, because he says about the Pericles fight, and I always keep asking him, what's the parakeets fight again? What's the parakeet fight? It's just a bugging right. But he's like, it's Pericles. I'm like, I know, it's a Greek thing, but he's like really intense with these lyrics, and I feel so bad like taking that verse out. It wasn't intentional. It was like, if I put this in, it's going to become like this really whispery, intense, deep thing that it might not resonate. Because Us was such a heavy.
Well, production wise, you made the right move. Like you had to take it out. Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. You can't have. No, it was way too artistic to be like a jam. Like, so it made total sense to do.
Because Us was the opposite. Like, Us had a huge political meaning. It was coming out of the pandemic, and I wanted it to have that, but then I wanted to counter it with that big zany synth kind of circus. But this one was like, I just wanted it to sound like it's like it's going to be somewhere at the end of the album or middle. It's just kind of, I feel like Avalon is very throwaway, but it's super catchy to me. I think it's actually catchier than Us in a throwaway kind of way. I don't know if it's a better song or not, but it's kind of like, I didn't want it to have this gravity that Us did. I want it to be like, throw it on, and it sounds like ancient warriors fighting, like, if you're not really paying attention to how really, deep, right, exactly. So it just has this kind of no gravity to it. I just want it to be like helium, like this just total let go banger of a summer track. I would have never released it in any other season. So I thought, it's kind of cool listening to Jordan talk about how intense, like, this is obviously huge stuff. It's talking about someone's life and what you feel like you can kind of accomplish in your lifetime. And here I'm going, let's make it a banger. It's kind of like this funny thing hearing him. So that's why when I removed that which is in the vocal, it's actually in the breakdown bridge of Avalon the Warrior remix that we have. I think you guys have played it a few times. Thank you. It's in there now, but it really tells the full story. Like, now that I listen to it, because now I'm like, oh, like when I go back and I go, Jordan was like, right, this is the story now. It's not just me trying to get people moving or feeling like fun when they're getting ready to go to the beach or something. It's actually, there's actual depth to this. So it's kind of a neat thing where there's layers that you can peel off like an onion to this music that even I don't realize, and I'm making it and I'm assembling it together, and I don't even realize a lot of times how deep Jordan is with his lyrics. I'm like, oh, these, because I had to type them out because I inputted them into the system because it's going to be on the next single. So when I read the lyrics in this huge long thing with a whisper, whisper, whisper chorus, I guess whatever you want to call it, whisper, whisper, whisper. I'm like, oh my God, Jordan, this is like deep. So it's kind of funny how it's even surprising me when I listen to his lyrics. That's why it's, you know, these things might take a little longer than what I would think, like, because he's sleeping. And for us, I was sending him 5 or 6 versions at night. He said he would wake up and see like version 23, version 24, version 20, because I'd listen and then listen on different speakers and things, and I'd, no, my God. So I'd erase and then send him a new version. And he'd wake up to go from 21 to 27 versions, and, you know, wake up again and it'd be like 33. And then he'd wake up again, he'd be like version 35, 36. Like, it's just kind of funny. But he's like, well, I did my part. Like, I did the lyrics and I did my vocal. And it's like, I don't even know if he listens to all the different versions I send him.
No, I do.
Do you? Because I'm almost psycho. Like, I don't blame him if he doesn't. But like,
This is a proper 24/7 operation, isn't it?
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do everything at night. Like, if usually I'll start in the day, and then by the time I'm done, I look up at the window and I'm like, it's morning again. So it's like, oh, I better stop and try sleeping. Like, the sun came up. And that's how it works. And then he'll kind of do stuff in the day. And I'm usually like this night shift. And he'll kind of like, whenever I do get stuff from him, I get it at the beginning of the night, because he did all his stuff during the day. And I work in film. So all my stuff is basically like I'll either be working in the day, but all my creative stuff is at night. So with Jordan, he'll send me something and I'll rush downstairs or upstairs to listen to it. And it's usually at a perfect time for me to start working on it. So
please tell me that one of the songs on the album will have the words "Love you, baby, baby, yeah, yeah." Please.
We could do that. We could do that.
If you guys have any requests,
I mean, not in that order. Feel free.
No.
Go scat. No problem.
We love you guys. So if you have any requests, you know, I've also worked with Bridget too. She's an incredible vocal on Starbird and Spacebird. So that's awesome too.
Well, thank you.
I work with the best. Like, I'm just so I just feel like I feel like a hack that shouldn't be doing this. Sometimes I'm like, why am I so lucky to be working with like the best vocalist and just having this opportunity, and then putting things out there like to Kurt and to DJs, to Kurt, with this, like, and him saying this is the best song of the year. I thought he was just trying to make me feel better at first, because I was so
you don't know me very well then.
I was terrified to let Kurt, like, this was a song that I was like, oh my God, I can't let Kurt down. And this is going to be like the one I'm starting out with. So I was Kurt was like this terrifying moment for me, because I was worried I don't want to let Kurt down, because he's been such a supporter. And I'm like, this is the song I come back to him with, this deep kind of weird rap political. It sounds great, like the vocals sound great. I didn't know what if I did something like a circus on it, like if my part was too weird, or so I was, when I heard all these like things that Kurt was telling me, I was like, oh my God, I was almost in tears. Like I don't
know. I usually get back to bands and say thank you for sending your music. You know, we'll be around to playing it. Or sometimes I say that was really nice, thank you. But it's not very often that this track came in and I mean, I was doing something else and I was concentrating on something else, as I do, and I like click that track, and we were messaging and I played it, and it's like it winded me, this track. It was just like, what? Wow, what is that? I played it.
You could have a big smile on my
Whatever you're doing, listen. Listen to this track. And that's because we just started the station, and I think it went in.
We put it in the teaser show.
The teaser show before we'd even done our first show.
Yeah.
We've got like 6 tracks to choose. I said, that's going in. That's got to go in. You didn't mind me putting it in the little teaser, and it went in my first show as well, I think, as well. But
I did. I think you like. I think what I've noticed is that you like more eccentric stuff. That it's kind of like out of the. Because that's why I was worried. Because I'm like, you know what, Kurt? Like I consider, like, because you guys are British. And I automatically think you guys kind of gravitate to the more artistic, kind of eccentric kind of things. So I should have known that you probably would have. I wasn't expecting the response I got from you, but I was literally, tearing up. But I was like,
so were we. It was just like a moment. It's great. But it does that once in a while. You get a song that comes in, and you go, I mean, it happens occasionally, not to this extent, but occasionally, because we don't just do electronic music on Big Satsuma. We do alternative indie stuff. We played ballads and stuff. If it's good, we've played some. We've got some rap this week on the shows and stuff. So if it comes in, sometimes you go. A rap guy sent his EP or album. I can't remember. And I was going, oh, click. Oh, I don't know. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I don't know. That next track was wow. That's good. You know? And I could have skipped through the whole and missed that track. So we clicked through everything. But then sometimes you get something that I knew it was going to be good. And when you were underplaying it so much, you know, I just knew this is going to be. I know it's going to be good.
I was terrified.
I clicked it. Honestly, when the first vocal came in, I was like, "Oh, gone."
Really?
Mika, where's this going? And it was like, "Wow." And when it finished, it was one of those. It's finished too soon. Put it on again.
If I had heard something negative from you at that stage, I was so fragile with this song
really?
that I would have done a pull down. I think I would have like pulled it from release. That song for some reason spooked me, because even when Jordan was done with it, like his stuff is so good that I almost felt like I didn't live up to his vocal, and I felt like it didn't really sound like us, really, like him and I. Like it sounded like something completely different. So I didn't even know what to do with it. Like I thought, is this even a B-side? Like, is this something we hide way in the back of the album? But now all the songs have this really eccentric kind of feel. But
right. Well, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
What's that?
We're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to it being the album of the year.
That'll be an honor. Yeah, there's going to be some cool. Yeah, you'll like some of the newer tracks. It'll be kind of song 4, 5, 3 on the album, and even the ones that'll be like 11 and 12. There's a lot of like the Sex Robot Island from Space or whatever, and like there's a lot of.
This song is titled. It was tongue in cheek, and it was "Escape to the Island of Rogue Sex Robots."
Rogue Sex Robots.
I thought it was funny because you're escaping to that island, but he said, "No, keep it." I'm like, "No, we can't have that as a title." And that's the intro. That's the one that sounds like The Weeknd, but I think is the most modern I've ever.
I think the nice thing about the songs we've heard so far is that they've got a really nice, familiar sound that draws you in, and that I think that's important in a pop song. So you go, "Oh, I feel comfortable with that," and then the vocal and some of the you've got some bonkers synths in some of the songs, and they take you're not expecting where it goes to, and Jordan's vocal I wasn't expecting to go where it went either. So you got this nice familiarity that you feel comfortable and you want to listen to, and then it all goes a bit bonkers and a bit, oh my god, what's that? And then it ends. It's like, what? I've got to play it again now. Like as a DJ and a presenter, we're thinking we've got to play it again, so we'll have to put in another show because when you're playing songs and people message you and say, what was that song? And I know which one you mean. It was that one.
That means a lot to us, really.
That totally means a lot, for sure.
We saved that vocal file that when you introduced it. It's like it will never be deleted.
Is it a ringtone?
Every time Stephano calls me.
That's a good idea.
A reminder.
I'll put a beat to it and I'll like probably stutter it.
It's a reminder. It's Stephano. Don't ever worry about my vocal. Don't ever criticize me again.
Now I'm worried about if we can ever surpass. Like, are we going to be living in the vocal? I mean,
I'm sure you will. We've no doubt in that.
I think I'll be living in the shadow of Godzilla, Jordan, forever. I don't think we can ever top. Like, I think there's better songs that are way more radio friendly. Although this one is catchy. It sounds like a Gary Newman song to me, in a weird way. But like the synth line is so Gary Newman. It's just crazy.
I think you guys will like Godzilla for sure. That's definitely.
What is that called, Jordan? A theremin? It sounds like a theremin or no, a mellotron. Is this mellotron synth?
Yeah.
Lead, and then he does this crazy chorus that wasn't on the chorus in the lead, and I said, dude, this is the chorus. So it slowly puts his vocal. By the third time, it goes over top of the synth line. And I have like goosebumps that shoot out into the walls. Like I can't, like tears. Like I can't listen to it anymore. Like every time I listen to it, I start crying tears of joy. It's not crazy. But I don't know if anyone else will feel the same way.
The same way. Well, that was
I
probably
think
your
it's
same.
more like
same
other
thing with
About
us.
30 billion people win. I would imagine somewhere.
All the Godzilla
Yeah,
fans
yeah.
around the world.
Yeah, we'll
And
see.
Godzuki. Yeah.
No,
Right.
that's not that. That's
And
I'm pumped about seeing what the
I think his
reaction of that's on.
vocal, his lyric is probably going to end up being there's a line in there that I think is going to be the album's title. It's so good. Don't spoil
Which
it.
one?
Jordan.
No
The
spoilers.
thing is the
Shh.
yeah, you know.
She no hi.
No,
Okay.
something about radiating.
Oh yeah. Okay.
When is
Yeah.
when is the next single coming out?
Well, they're done.
So
That's
the
up
next
to
single
Stephano.
is August 19th. August 19th is Sweet Music Man.
Yeah.
And after that, maybe a little surprise, right, Jordan? Maybe.
Oh yeah. There's some good ones. There's some. I'm trying to wrap up. Yeah, I'm trying to just simplify and wrap up some stuff.
Is it
There's
Love
four other
You
tunes.
Baby? Yeah. Is it
I
that?
hope so. I want one like that. You know,
I'm writing the baby ooh ooh ah ah song right now.
You've got a horse, I've got a car.
Yeah.
it's good enough for Motown. It's good enough. You know what?
Yeah, I got but right another tune. I'm finishing up another tune right now that Stefano doesn't even know about.
Right.
I forget what his title was.
You know he knows
but
now.
It's going to be our fire starter. Fire
Oh,
starter.
great.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Is it
it's
Disco
very
Imperia?
aggressive. No, not Disco Imperia, but din 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 din
Oh,
din
oh
din,
my God!
din.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's a little bit of profanity in that one, but it'll be
Great.
It'll be fun.
There's also a song that I want it to be the end of the. It's called Love Unconquerable. It's right now it's an instrumental, but I'm begging Jordan to put ooze on. It's the most uplifting. It's like incredible. So Jordan, I hope Jordan blesses it with his vocal. But there's also I kind of threw a Christmas song at him last week.
Oh yeah, we're doing that too. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So there's don't say which one it is though, but it's like
No.
it's a classic.
Is it Santa Ooh Baby Baby?
I hope so. I hope
so too.
No. It's a Canadian classic, actually.
Yeah,
Right.
Canadian classic.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right. Well, I think are we there?
We've
Do
probably
you guys have enough?
I think we've got quite a bit of material. We've got 1 3/4 hours of material.
Oh my God!
Perfect.
Time has
Do you have
flown.
enough for the new single, like Sweet Music Man? I didn't derail that.
Well, I think it's coming out very shortly, and it's very inexpensive, and everyone should go and buy it. What is there a message? What the song's about? Is there any particular theme to it?
Sweet Music Man. For me, I mean, Jordan. I'll let Jordan answer because he's the lyrics guy. For me, I really love how again, it's tragedy, but it's uplifting. Like you take a tragic moment and you make this beautiful artistic kind of like rapturous, ecstatic statement out of this kind of really tragic, sad love song. So
Yeah.
I love how when Jordan sings it, it sounds like it's a question and answer kind of thing. Like she's talking about like Reba when she sings it. Basically, the singer is talking about how I love you so much, I love you, I love you, I love you, but you're so incredible, but I can't be with you. You're so lost. Like so, it's this kind of weird letting go that is so. It's so different for me because it's this rapturous moment of letting go while you're still in love, but letting go in a happy way. It's a weird song. So Jordan, I don't know what it means to you, but for me, I love the build in 3 acts, like where it starts as a droning song, it turns into like almost like a 90s boppy kind of song, and then it turns into this 80s burning marauder kind of, Italo disco kind of thing. So
yeah, it's that's why I'm pumped about it, because it's not to repeat myself from like an hour ago, but it's not a tune that you cover as a guy doing the Reba version.
Yeah.
But it was so much better that I didn't even know there was a Reba version, because I was so into the traditional country growing up as like country cowboy kid. Like I never ever heard in a Reba's country, but Reba's not like considered kind of traditional, country. It's definitely more like pop country. And so then hearing Stephano being like, no, I want to do the Reba version, and you take out lines like I wouldn't listen when I couldn't see. All I have left now are the words you sing to me. Sing a song, sweet music man, because I won't be there to hold your hand like I used to. I'm through with you. The whole tune is literally and I'm not sure who exactly is talking to Kenny Rogers, but the whole tune is about being like, hey, we're done. You sing these songs every night. People love you, but you're a hollow, empty man. That's what the tune is about.
That's brutal.
That's what the song is about. Sing your song, sweet music man. You travel the world. Yeah, you travel the world with a 6-piece band that does for you what you ask them to. And you try to stay young, but the songs have been sung. So many people who have all begun to come back onto you, meaning they're turning on him. And so the whole tune is a really sad song. And then the Reba version is so happy. and we made it, and we just made it, and I sang it the same way, and then did like, there's 9-part, like they're not 9-part harmonies in terms of the technicality of it, but there's 9 vocal tracks, and it just, nobody can sing a love song quite like you do. No one can sing along just quite like you. Like, nobody else can make me feel the things that are right when I know that they're wrong. Nobody sings a love song quite like you. And then I took that lyric and just was like, that has to just be angelically huge. And then Stephano put it into 3 acts, as we'd call them, and it's really cool. Yeah, I like that tune. I listen to that tune, and I just, every time it ends, I just go. I just never knew it was going to become that at all.
You should put it on the end of the track.
Yeah, just a little laugh.
Just laughing. Though, I think it's actually Kenny Rogers wrote that when he was on an airplane with, I think it was Waylon Jennings, and I think he wrote it about Waylon Jennings. I really don't know the backstory of it. I always remember hearing that, like, on vinyl. Like, I remember growing up and hearing this tune, and that song opens up with that. It has an interesting synth sound, which for back in like that, back in that era was like a very progressive thing to do. And how he just opens like, I wouldn't listen, and all I have left now are the words you sing to me, to music man. And then we just made that whole thing. Now that you're singing it, holy crap!
Yeah, we just made it like and that whole thing Stephano then took and just has like this whoa, 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 and I'm like, I couldn't listen. It's really cool. I think you guys will enjoy it when it's
it's actually traditional, because like you said, his version has an analog synth in it as well. It starts off, you'd think it's going to be like a synth pop track when it starts, but it's like this total traditional country. So it's kind of, it's cool. Yeah. I never thought I'd cover that. I always thought, do we do Don't Bring Me Down by ELO, or I don't want to do similar, like I can cover a billion Erasure songs, but I wouldn't do them justice. Like any kind of like 80s, I didn't want to do like, it's always good when you cross genre covers, I think, because you bring something new to the song. So this one is like, who would have thought, anyone would cover this? A lot of people haven't even heard this song, actually. They think it's an original that we did, like when I've been like testing it with some people. But
because a lot of the communities aren't linked together. A lot of the country, a lot of the dance, EDM and whatever, they have no idea of the countryside, especially traditional country, right? But once you put those together, that's why I'm jazzed about this one being a cover, because it is really unique that Stephano came up with this idea, because I never would have ever done a Reba McEntire and sang it in her key, and that's what was really fun about it too, is it's so high.
And I was on the phone every day with him. Can you when she does that thing at the end of I was actually I was micromanaging his vocal on that. I go, oh no, you got to do what she did on that little end. Like she does this thing that makes it into a pop catchy little, remember that ending? I can't remember on every like second or third word she does.
Are you guys familiar with Reba at all?
No.
So American country artist.
Yeah, like pretty much one of those like classical American country singers. Like everything she sings is just like all over, and so like trying to like emulate that stuff
She's sweet.
was fun, and it worked out. But how she sings words, like she'll really roll her R's, or like there's just those
It's very
classic
twangy.
country, very twang, very twang.
But she's a living legend. Like
She's a
one of the
legend,
biggest
absolutely, yeah.
American female country artist in history, and she loves dance music. She put out a remix album last year, I think.
Yeah.
So this can be an interesting thing. I want to send it to her, see what she thinks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, see what she says.
Okay, well, it's been very enjoyable, and one of the highlights was you two clapping eyes on each other and seeing each other for the first time.
First time.
Yeah.
Wow, you can.
You're like real.
Oh, my hair disappears in my background. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of you've been kind of going in and out like a ghost for the whole. It's kind of cool.
Song in there must be.
There is another one.
Yeah.
Well, I can't
Thanks,
wait
guys.
to
That
hear
was
the
awesome.
music, Jordan.
Sorry.
I can't wait to hear the new songs, Jordan.
Yeah.
It's so funny. He works on them.
Yeah, we're all looking forward to it. We've really enjoyed it. Thank you,
Yeah.
and thank you for telling us about everything that goes on behind how you two make music. It's fascinating.
Oh, thanks for having us. That was
Thank you for
that's
all
an
the
honor.
support.
Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you for
for the support. Thank you, 100%, like 1,000%. Like
You're very welcome.
you guys have been killer. I do still have that audio on my phone. I play it sometimes when I feel depressed.
Bless you. Well, just keep the music coming. The pressure's on though now. Pressure's on.
It is.
Okay, that ooh baby ooh is coming.
Sweet Music Man, 19th of August.
Yes, 19th of
Yes.
August.
Yeah.
Okay, and watch out for that album.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Whenever
album will
that
be
comes.
whenever I'm gonna dump literally like 6 songs on Stephano, and he's gonna figure out all of his stuff, and then the album is done.
Because we have 6 already that are have vocals. Then if you have 4 more, that'll be 10.
Yeah, there's
12.
6 more, but yeah.
And
4
I'll beg, borrow, and steal some more for that.
And don't forget, ooh yeah, baby, baby.
Ooh yeah, baby is
Gordon.
100%.
That's like a
And that laugh on the end as well. Trust me, it'll work.
You the funny thing is I'm gonna do it, so it's okay.
You don't know if it'll make it in though.
Then we'll see we'll see if he cuts it or not.
But just trust me, Stephano. Trust me.
I trust you.
All right, thanks, guys. We really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Seeing your guys' faces.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Cheers.